pets or dogs? If you've been alive for at least 2 days, chances are you've probably heard this question at least once. And every time it's brought up, people always bring up the worst points possible, like, oh, my dog could sniff out bombs, or my cat could shit in the box. And I'm pretty sure most people aren't going to go to the pet store to find a dog to sniff out any bombs they might have in their yard. And the cat one, I mean, okay. So I'm gonna try to find actual reasons people would buy a cat or a dog that are actually comparable. And I will admit, I've only owned cats, so this might be a little bit hard. So I did a little research on reasons that people would actually buy a cat or a dog that can apply to both of them, and managed to narrow it down to 5 real reasons that are like actually comparable and aren't really subjective. For example, there's always going to be ugly cats and ugly dogs, and I tried to make these reasons as fair as possible. If I were to give a reason that only one is capable of, it wouldn't really be fair. Anyways, I'm gonna get into it. Lifespan is really important for some pretty obvious reasons. Everyone would want their pet to live as long as possible. Unless you're a psychopath, of course. And this one was very easy since it really only took like one Google search to figure out that cats have a slightly longer lifespan. And I honestly expected it to be the other way around, but, you know, cats on top. This is another reason I've occasionally heard from people. Things like bugs and mice, and even this guy getting into your house is like not something you'd probably want. But I sort of think this is the weakest reason to actually go out and buy one, but it is still something to consider, I guess. I figured out that cats are actually better at chasing away animals like bugs and mice, so I'm gonna have to say cats are better with this. Okay, so this one is including everything, like costs for adoption, the cost for food and toys, and yeah, so on. And for this one, cats win pretty easily, since, like, again, cats don't require as many resources as dogs do, which of course makes them less expensive. This is a very common reason I see people wanting to buy a cat or a dog, and I feel like this reason can be considered probably the most important one. If this is like more important than other reasons by far for someone, the obvious answer is a dog, since cats want to be left alone most of the time, and they get angry if you like try to force any interactions with them, so I'm gonna go ahead and say dogs for this one. So what I mean by this is how hard it is to take care of one of them. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing to have it harder or not is really up to you, but I'm gonna say that easier is a better thing in general. And for this one, cats obviously win by a landslide, since you could practically just leave them alone if you wanted to. And a dog needs more attention, but a cat really doesn't care sometimes, unless you have to feed them. Okay, so that's all of the ones I'm gonna do for right now. Obviously cats won this by a bit, but my way of determining which is better probably wasn't perfect. But, you know, this is the best I could come up with.